guys, and welcome to Fresh Fitness. Today we're going to be exploring some of the basic movements that you can do with the kettlebell, and we'll start that off with the kettlebell swing. So the kettlebell swing basically is just your hip hinge with a little bit of power added to it. So I'm going to sit my hip back, load my glutes and my hams. Hands at the bottom position would be close to your inner thigh, like the adductors close to the zipper line. From the front, it's going to look like this. And then as I come out, I'm going to stand up tall. The hand comes forward. Breathe in at the bottom, breathe out at the top. Okay? So I'm going to grab my kettlebell, tip it in. I'm going to pull it in and up towards the back. Hands on either side of the horn of the kettlebell. And then I breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Keeping the big toe, the pinky toe, and the heel evenly on the floor. Loading the hips, standing up tall. And in 3, 2, I'm going to put it down, there, and release. That way I don't want to stop the kettlebell mid-swing, which could take up a little bit more of my back. The next one we're going to look at is around the body passes. If you're pretty comfortable with that front double-handed swing, this is where you can add a little bit of that around the body passes for some a little bit more core activation. So this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to go into my swing. I come out. I switch hand to hand. Breathe. The bigger the circle, the more the core activates. The smaller the circle, the easier it is. I swing back in, and then I go the other way. And if you do spill it, let it roll, because you don't need to catch it and save the floor. The floor can handle it. It's better to do that than to injure yourself. So this is what it's going to look like again. Breathe in, up, around. You can also bring your feet closer together, wider if you want, and then come back in and swing about. Keep that chest nice and tall. Bring both hands in and put it down. All right. The next one we're going to do is your single arm alternating swing. So if you're fairly familiar with that swing, you can handle that hand over switch from the front to the back, right? Then we can do your single arm alternating swing. And all that's going to look like is we're going to go into your double-handed swing. Once you get that going, at the top, I'm going to drop my left hand, switch my right. Left and right, we always switch at the top. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. I'm going to show that to you from the side. I start with my double-handed swing always. I release one hand, I come up, I switch. And I usually will hold on each corner of the horn, just because there's more room that way. And always I get my hand to follow the movement. And then breathe in, back down. Again, back into that double-handed one and set your kettlebell properly so we don't irritate the low back. The third one we're going to do is going to be your clean. This is to get the kettlebell from the floor to the shoulder into that rack position. Once you're good with that, we can add the swing into the clean as well. So for the clean, all it is you want the kettlebell to roll on your forearm and sit right in that nice triangle, right? It's just going to sit in that nice rack position. Ideally, you want to keep your wrist nice and straight. We're going to try and turn that knuckle in even towards the chin so as it doesn't go like this. As soon as that form of the wrist go the other way, it gets hard on the wrist. So I'll show you what I mean here. So I'm going to pick up from the floor. I'm going to rotate it in, and I'm just going to let it sit in that nice little V position. I'm going to come a little closer so you can see it. So I'm going to roll it back down, roll it up in that position. Breathe in, breathe out. Make sure the movement is coming from the hip. The hand just follows through. Breathe in, breathe out. And as you can see, I can even release my hand at the top. There's no need to death grip it, right? So knuckle by the chin, thumb by the chest, breathe in, breathe out. If I do it from the other side, it's going to be the same. I'm standing up tall. I'm not letting that kettlebell swing away from me. And it's going to be the same when we put it in with the swing clean. So we've done your single-handed swing. All it is I bring it in and up, and then I pull. So I don't want it moving away from me too much, right? Because then it's going to want to slam on my forearms, as you can see. And I don't want that. So what I want to do is as I swing in, I swing out. Breathing in as I come in, I bring my pinky in, I bring my thumb up. Breathe in, breathe up. Once you get that one settled, then you can step up into your snatch. The snatch is exactly the same thing. You're just pulling it higher and rotating and placing that hand right behind it. You're inserting that hand right behind the kettlebell. And I'll show you what it looks like with the swing. It's always better with the swing because then you have a little bit of momentum to play with. Breathe in, insert, roll in, breathe in, breathe out. Full extension here. Just make sure that the rib stays down. Okay, I'm gonna roll my pinky back in. I move my head back. I swing and I punch right back out. The last thing that we're going to be looking at is your lateral swing. This one I find personally a little bit more challenging because you have to get the timing right. And you got to move the torso and the hip at the same time so as the spine stays nice and long and we're not getting any of that side bend happening. Okay? And I'll show you what I mean. Usually I will put it right beside me because I want to laterally swing it out, back in like a pendulum. Okay, so I'm going to stand right behind it, get into my hinge. I'm going to tip it in the direction I want it to go. I pick it up, breathe, breathe. And that's when I want to swing from the hip. The arm stays nice and solid. Posture is nice and tall. Breathe in, breathe out, put it down. Okay, so from the front, the knee has to be almost parallel to the ankles. Because if that knee drives forward, it's going to get knocked by your kettlebell. So you want to make sure that we're standing right behind it in that hinge position. And as I turn, I move from the hip and my shoulder follows. That way it's my glute, my hamstring that's doing the work along with my core and not my low back. So we don't want any rotation on the low back. From the front, I'm going to show it to you. So I always go a little bit, get my momentum going, shoulder over that kettlebell, just like in your deadlift position would be. You don't want to be too upright because then the low back is going to take it and down. Always from the knee, keeping the hip hinge as you put it back down. Okay, so give those a go. Let us know how you do, and we'll see you on the next one.